individuals who are just as demonstrative and have problems too. So I know people will jump on the Karmelo Anthony situation and say Karmelo Anthony had problems. What was going on? Why was he stalking his girlfriend? This all came out in court because they didn't let a lot of stuff in court into the court procedures the first time around when he got 35 years. And because his lawyer, Howard, and I'm going to bring that up too, because they decided to strike some type of deal that wasn't on the record. There was no documents, nothing that could have actually helped the appeal, because today, as it was announced, they lost their appeal for a new trial. And I've been listening to some legal eagle folks today on these YouTube streets that said there may not be a new trial potentially for Karmelo Anthony until 2028, 29. They gotta appeal the denial of the new judge. If that appeal doesn't, that's going to take a while. It's not going to take like quick. It's going to take a long time. And if they are to win that appeal, then they wouldn't even have a new trial until 28, 29, if that even happens. The problem is that Karmelo Anthony and his family and his lawyer, Mike Howard, they cut a deal that they did not put on the record in terms of it being in the legal paperwork. So that's another problem. And then even if they would have let into court everything that Austin, the Metcalfs were about, then of course the prosecution was going to counter by saying, okay, we're going to spill all the beans about your client, about his issues that go back, his juvenile history, his history of making threats on at a fair, his history of stalking his girlfriend, making cold threats, playing around with weapons, putting out thoughts about he would harm someone. Karmelo Anthony has problems, and I'm not going to sit up here and deny it when information, credible information comes out that he has problems. But on the flip side of this guy, Austin Hunter, and his brother were made to be angels. They were made out to be angels, that they could do no wrong, that he was a football player and a good student in school with 4.0 grade point average, that Austin Hunter and his brother were just good old, you know how they do it when it comes to white boys. They were just good old American boys. They didn't do anything wrong. They were just trying to protect the tent, protect their school honor by this intruder that they deemed an intruder, Karmelo Anthony. But then they have dirt. They have, pages and pages of dirt on them. We watched them talk about Karmelo Anthony like a dog, as if these white boys were clean, as if they were squeaky clean in their background. No. These guys were devilish as well. We're going to go over their history. I'm going to talk more about Karmelo Anthony and his issues as well. It's unfortunate that he has issues, but we got to remember that we are dealing with minors. We're not dealing with adults. We are dealing with kids here who have brains that are not fully developed. Your brain is not fully developed until after 25 years of age, and then you're still developing. So you're dealing with minors, kids, lack of emotional control. The theory has it that on the day that he had the knife, that he was already upset with his girlfriend wanting to break up. And so the theory has it is that he was he was emotional over the breakup, and that when Austin Metcalf approached him, Karmelo Anthony was already in a mood that he wasn't in a mood to take no shit off of nobody. And then Austin Metcalf and his brother had a history of going around bullying people. You're going to find out in my video that there was a reason why Karmelo Anthony was like, if you touch me again, see what happened. Because even though Karmelo Anthony did not know Austin Metcalf, Hunter Metcalf, he knew of their reputation for bullying, attacking, harming people. And had this come out in court without that friendly, I don't even know what the hell you call this. Without that backroom deal, this might have been placed in court. The jury didn't hear the issues that Austin and Metcalf, Hunter, had for putting their hands on people. They had a long history. Harassing girls, harassing cheerleaders, harassing black students, and using racial slurs. This could have played a vivical piece in possibly making the justification that was necessary for why Karmelo Anthony took it there and then took his life, because he knew he was dealing with two individuals, one in particular, Austin, who had a history of damaging people. Y'all folks out there tried to make these white boys angels. And you said, oh, you guys are making Karmelo Anthony an angel. Okay, Karmelo Anthony ain't an angel, but they're not angels either. So if you're going to talk about Karmelo Anthony having his problems, you better also talk about these two individuals here. And then what do we call it? The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, because their father, Jeff Metcalf, has a serious issue with race himself. As he sat up there and said, watermelon felon. We're going to get to him, because I said this in videos a long time ago. Where did they learn this behavior? Where did they get this behavior from? They have to learn. You learn this behavior in your household, from your father, from your parents, from people that you grow up with. This is Texas, by the way, if we haven't forgotten. These two turkeys right here, we had already said this, many content creators, that they were racist, that they had issues. And that explains why they had no problem putting hands on Karmelo Anthony. But then, with what has come out, now we have a better understanding of why Karmelo Anthony took it to that level of taking Austin's life, because they were putting hands on him. Particularly Austin was putting hands on him. And as he had told the police, he put his hands on me. And that's his history, ladies and gentlemen, putting his hands on people. Karmelo Anthony has been placed in we saw this right here. This is a clip from when he was placed in the police squad car. As he has said, they put their hands on me. Real Aaron Collins, thank you for being here. Another CG, thank you for being here. Patty's Garden and more, thank you for being here. And share the video if you can. Let's go right here. We have the lawyer. Let's read it right here. This is how it all began. The arrangement. Defense lawyer Mike Howard stated that they worked out an off the record gentleman's deal. This is a problem, because this should have been on the legal record, which would have helped them in the appeal. This hurt them in trying to get a new trial. Because the argument that you would make is that, hey, the jury never had a chance to hear this part of the situation. The jury didn't know anything about this, didn't know anything about the fact that these two, that Austin had a horrible history. He was obsessed. He was threatening the people. He's put hands on people. I think someone got a shoulder bone broken because of him. And then the rumors that we heard about him putting hands on his father, Jeff Metcalf, and mother, that turns out to be factual too, allegedly. They had serious problems just as much as you can make the argument that Karmelo Anthony had serious problems. Off the record, gentlemen deal with the prosecution involving Prosecutor Whisker and Judge Joe Roach. And you know I don't like Roach. I think that judge is dangerous. Remember I told you all that the leading prosecutor, right, Eric Williams' trial received national honors. Bill Whisker and Tovey Shook received prestigious home run hitter awards in Chicago. These guys, as I had said many times back, they had a law firm together. So they should have never been allowed to try this case, in my opinion, because of the relationship that they had with each other and then the connection to the judge, which is another problem here. The judge right here, who they were successful at getting him removed. And that was a good thing, that they were able to get him off the case. But the judge today ruled against Karmelo Anthony and his lawyers to give them the ability to get a new case. So this is what they were hiding right here. There was 20 pages, a 20-page behavioral history hidden from the jury. The twins' record revealed shocking details about Austin, Hunter, and Metcalf, sealed by pretrial agreement. Hidden records. Now, why did this, let's say this again. Let's go over this again. Why did the jury never hear about this, right? Well, let's see. Let's read about this right here. So the jury was completely unaware of Austin's history as well as Metcalf's history, right? They had their own documented history of bullying and juvenile criminal probation for racist graffiti due to pre-trial gentleman's agreement, which I don't agree with. Both sides had informally agreed to suppress character evidence to avoid biasing the jury pool and focus strictly on the events of the physical altercation. I don't agree with that, because this could have actually helped. You could say, well, it could hurt Karmelo Anthony if they knew that Karmelo Anthony had problems too as well, and had said some really weird, bizarre stuff, making threats himself, saying how he would harm people and what have you. You would say, well, this would go against Karmelo Anthony. You don't want that to happen. But then it could go both ways. It could also show that Austin Metcalf is also a dangerous individual. And maybe, just maybe, even though I think that this whole trial was cooked and baked from the very get-go, maybe Karmelo Anthony wouldn't be looking at 35 years if maybe some of this would have come in. But then people can say it would have worked against Karmelo, because they could have said, well, look at his violent history. Look at the fact that he had a knife and that he was angry at his girlfriend and he was already emotional over his fallout with his girlfriend on the day of the stabbing. And so therefore he was out to hurt somebody. They could have used it and molded to push those kind of agendas. Just as well as the defense team could have said, well, wait a minute, Austin Hunter is a menace to society, a menace to the community, and a menace to high school students, and bullying, vandalism, racial slurs. By the way, where'd they get this shit from? Their father. Let's go back here. Here's the fallout. Here's the fallout right here. You see, we were wondering, everybody, why is it that Karmelo Anthony never took the stand? I was asking the same question. Hey, why didn't he take the stand? Why is he not taking the stand? This doesn't make any sense. Boy, you better get up there and take the stand. And because if he would have, see, this is the thing. The argument is that if Karmelo Anthony would have took the stand, then maybe he could have explained why he had the knife. He could have explained the fact that him and his girlfriend had a fallout and he was emotionally, off kilter that day. And by the way, for everybody out there listening, just for the record, him and his girlfriend are back together. And so we know these things happen when you are a teenager and you're in relationships and you're young, you're having puppy love and you think that you're in love with someone. And this isn't, I'm not going to say Karmelo Anthony's behavior. I'm not going to make excuses for it, even if it sounds like I'm making an excuse, but I'm not. But we know for a fact, and I've taken plenty of child psychology, we know that this is commonplace for teenagers to have breakups and do goofy stuff. Now, Karmelo Anthony took it too damn far. I'm going to say that 100% with his girlfriend and some of the things that he was doing that came out in the record. But we do know when it comes to juveniles, this is something that goes on quite a bit with teenagers when there's a breakup and somebody can't handle the breakup and they become emotionally unstable over it. This is commonplace with teenagers. So maybe there's something that Karmelo Anthony could have explained on the stand when he was confronted if he would have been on the stand, but he was not on the stand because of this agreement that they made. The fallout, the defense claimed that the agreement fell apart during the trial when prosecutors argued the deal would not apply if Anthony took the witness stand. Now, why? Now, this is the question you got to ask yourself. If they had the dirty information, the dirty background information on Karmelo Anthony, then why would the prosecution be concerned about him taking the stand? You know why? Because if he would have took the stand, he could have explained some of this behavior that he had engaged in that creates an alarming effect in one's mind and one thought that, hey, what the hell is going on here with this kid, right? And another thing that they probably were afraid of is the fact that Karmelo Anthony could expose the Austin twins. You know why? I'm going to tell you why he could have exposed the Austin twins. Because even though Karmelo Anthony didn't know the Austin twins personally, meaning he didn't have any friendship with them. He didn't know them like that. You can know people from afar, meaning you don't know them, but you know their reputation. This is the reason why Karmelo Anthony was aware of their reputation. That could have worked for him in this court case because Karmelo Anthony already knew that the Austin twins, or the Metcalf twins, Hunter and Austin, had a reputation for putting their hands on people, being racist, bullying, pushing people around, knocking bottles in the back of people's head. So Karmelo Anthony, when he said, well, if you touch me, you'll see what I'm going to do. Karmelo Anthony knew who he was dealing with. He knew their reputation. He knew that he couldn't just get out of there. He knew he had to defend himself because he knew that they were capable of serious bodily harm. As he said, they touched me. That's why they didn't want Karmelo Anthony on the stand, because he would have broken down that, hey, the reason why I did what I did or defended myself because I'm aware of these Austin twins. They have a reputation. And then Karmelo Anthony would have been able to say, from what I understand, they did this to that girl. They did this to that boy. They did this. They did vandalism. They did racial slurs to this one black kid and kicked them in the back of the head. He would have been able to recite the things that he knew because he knew their reputation. And they had a reputation for questioning people, for sitting down here and being where they don't think people need. These Austin twins were so off the chain that they were even causing fights when they were playing football against their opponents and trying to cause fights after the damn football games. They had such a reputation. And out of this, Karmelo Anthony is in a dilemma. The details came to light during the high-profile appeal hearing for Karmelo Anthony, who's previously convicted of murder, for sentenced to 35 years for the fatal stabbing of 17-year-old Austin Metcalf under a team tent at a North Texas high school track meet. So this is what we got here, everybody. Both of them, both these kids, we're dealing with kids here. The Austin twins, I don't care what nobody got to say about this. The Austin twins were no damn better. Karmelo Anthony had problems. The Austin twins had problems. And as much as I don't really want to start questioning Karmelo Anthony's mother and father because they've gone through enough stress, I just have to say, as a father myself, it makes me wonder what the hell was going on with the parenting with Austin Metcalf's father, who's a racist. What, his parenting was horrible. What the hell was going on with the parenting for Karmelo Anthony and his family? Both parents, you have to ask yourself, wow, what's really going on here? But we already know, we have the answer to why the Austin and his brother Hunter were the way they are, because the father is a nasty bastard as well.
Black fatigue, it's real. I'm sorry. He's the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such this little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about Watermelon Felon? How's that one strike?
All right, so the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. Now, this is the breakdown of the Austin Hunter and his brother Hunter Metcalf. Austin, both of these cats, they both have serious problems. I don't care what nobody says. They have just as much problems as you would point the finger at Karmelo Anthony and say he has problems, right? Now, right here, racist and anti-Semitic hate vandalism. The incident, Austin and Hunter were caught spray painting highly offensive racist and anti-Semitic graffiti. 2, the content graphic, the graffiti included messages such as KKK, kill all blacks. Where'd they learn this from? They learned it from their idiotic father. KKK and kill all blacks. Hi Hitler in the N-word. This is the Austin twins, okay? This is the Metcalf twins, should I say. Austin and Hunter Metcalf. Punishment. The incident resulted in both brothers being sent to a 12-month of juvenile probation. They should have been put in freaking juvenile prison. The hell with probation. See, that's the problem right there, that they got a slap on the hand. See, if they were black, let's keep it real. If these were, just imagine if these were two black twins running around harassing people in school, harassing girls, harassing white folks, using slurs, racial slurs towards white people. They find a white boy on the bench at a track meet. They attack a white boy who's just sitting under the tent talking to a friend or something. You know damn well this whole trial, this whole narrative would be different. There's no way in the hell in American society would two twin black brothers be allowed to do this sort of stuff as long as they did in the community? You know damn well, if it was two black twin boys, they would have neutralized them a long time ago and said, we got to stop these two black twins. Matter of fact, they would have gotten jail time, not no damn probation. That's part of the problem right there. And I don't care what nobody says. That's a fact. Cover up of allegations. Records from the hearing stated that the twins were not transparent with authorities during the initial investigation, downplaying the target hate speech as standard vandalism or dumb stuff. You see what we're dealing with here? History. Number two, history of school bullying, right? This is what these guys were about. This is what they were made of, okay? Targeting classmates. School files reveal documented patterns of bullying, specifically Austin for formally accusing of bullying a black student in class in 2023. Racial slurs. The record note that multiple district documented instance of Austin using explicit racial slurs on school grounds. I'm going to say this again. For those of you out there who are taken back by Karmelo Anthony's record, right? Because the things that Karmelo Anthony was saying and doing were terrible as hell. I'm not going to sit up here and deny that. The young man had problems. But guess what? He had problems, and these individuals right here, they had problems. Now, this is the thing I want to say. When you look at Karmelo Anthony and you see that he has problems, and they will often say to us when black kids have problems, where is the black father? What's wrong with the black community? You'll even have your buck dancers on Facebook, YouTube, who will say the same thing. What's wrong with the black community? They will use isolated situations where you have some black people who are not conducting themselves right, and they will take them as the example. I see this all the time with black folks like this on all social media. They will post things that show black people in a negative light, as if those negative posts represent all of the black community when it only represents a small fraction of our community. See, they take the minimum of our dysfunction and they make it the maximum. Joe Madison, the Black Eagle, used to say this sort of stuff. They take the minimum of our negative behavior and they make it the maximum and say, oh, this is all black folks. And then black people that are achieving great things, they will minimize that as if it's the minimum when it's actually the maximum of us. And so we know for a fact if the Austin twins were two twin black kids doing this sort of stuff, just as much as Karmelo Anthony and his issues, people will say right away, this is a byproduct of the black community. This is a byproduct of the single black woman. This is a byproduct of black people not having no culture. We're just lost in the wilderness and what have you. Well, if you're going to say that, then here is Jeff Metcalf. Why is it that when white people do dysfunctional things like his sons, you don't have nobody saying, what's wrong with the white community? What's wrong with the white father? Where is the white father? Is the white father in their life, or is he living apart from them? Is the white father getting choked out by his own kids? What about the white father that spouses all this racial stuff and then he raises kids like this? On this picture, they look like, oh, they're fine. They're good old American white boys. They're demons. See, white America has problems that you all hear about the latest news with the, and I'm going to do a story on that, the latest news out there at, what's that university? You had them white boys who were, I think at Penn University, Penn State, I think, them white boys were running a drug ring in that fraternity. And they were, as part of the initiation into the fraternity, they were making their pledges pack drugs. They were moving heavy weight. And when you look at them, you could tell they come from suburbia. They come from upper middle white class. They got money. They got all this sort of stuff. But when they got busted for drugs and trafficking, what they were doing, nobody questions the white community. No one says, what's wrong with the white community? What's wrong with the white man? Who are their fathers? That's the double standard that we have here in America. When black people find themselves doing something dysfunctional, it gets blamed for all. So when Karmelo Anthony is exposed for his dysfunctional behavior, this will be something that will be used as a stereotype to say, see, this is how all black youngsters are. But they won't use the same philosophy when it comes to the Austin boy, the Metcalf twins. See, them having dysfunction in this community, it is not used as a litmus test to judge the white community, even though there are tons of white kids in these white suburban communities that get down and cause problem just like them every day, and nobody gives a damn. Nobody says anything because they are white. And I don't care what anybody, I don't care who you are on these YouTube streets. I don't care who you are, who I know. I don't give a damn if you disagree with everything I said. I don't give a damn, because I know that the truth is on my side, and I'm going to keep saying what is the truth.
Tell the truth.
Now, let me put this up here. Physical assault number 3. The Austin twins have a history of physical assault. Now, what they caught on Karmelo Anthony was stuff on his phone where he was saying stuff. The Metcalf twins, they not only were saying stuff, but they were doing stuff that was caught on Austin's phone, the stuff that they were doing to people. Physical assaults and violence against females. All the way back to elementary school. What's wrong with the white fathers in America when your kids are having this kind of dysfunctional behavior going all the way back to elementary school? Elementary school arrest. They were arrested in elementary school. Dating back to 2018, both Austin and Hunter were accused of bullying and insulting a young girl. An incident severe enough to result in an arrest while they were still in elementary school. Physical battery. A later report from 2024 detailed an altercation where Austin allegedly knocked a female student to the ground and repeatedly punched her in the stomach.
Information is power.
Issue. Here's the issue, the general issue. General disciplinarian issue. Game rejection. Austin aggressively behavior was extracted in multiple he extracted in multiple ejections with records including fighting, threats, and unsportsmanlike conduct. Incitement of violence. As a prior track event, Austin was documented saying, if they MF when I see you, I'm going to wreck them, to crew staffing behind the event bench. And so when Karmelo Anthony was sitting on the bench, they thought that they was running stuff, that they were the man. Nobody should do anything without their say so. Incident reports. This is the one where the mother admitted that Austin is a hothead, that he loses his temper. Incident detail: the game confrontation happened after a football game loss against Frisco Liberty. The insult: Hunter Metcalf allegedly yelled at a cheerleader unprovoked, causing the group to feel embarrassed and accused. Threatening remarks: another football player later mentioned that Hunter claimed his hands were blessed, and implying he was saying that his hands were bisexual, implying that he would hit both boys and girls. That's what he said. That's what they're made of. That's what they were about. Him and his brother were a piece of work. The mom, remember the mom admitted this. The mom came out and said on TikTok, and I played that video, the mom came out on TikTok and said he loses his cool. I believe Austin might have said something to those girls, but see, Austin only does that if people say something to him that he doesn't like. These dudes have a history of beating up on girls, attacking boys, losing their cool in football games, going around the track and field, bullying people, pushing girls on the ground, pushing people in the back, hitting people in the back of the head. Oh, I got some more for you. Karmelo has problems too, and they got problems too. See, you can't be willing to talk about Karmelo's issues if you're not willing to talk about their issues. Now, Karmelo Anthony, as I said before, he's got a bunch of problems right here. I'm not proud to read this, but this is just the facts, ladies and gentlemen. Stalking and harassment. Karmelo Anthony, a day after the crime of stalking, just hours before stabbing occurred on April the 2nd, 2025, Karmelo Anthony's girlfriend reported him to Centennial High School staff members. She stated that he was actively stalking her, driving by her home, and refusing to allow her to break off their relationship. Theft allegations documented that Karmelo Anthony had previously been accused of stealing his girlfriend's cell phone. You know damn well, and I'm not trying to justify any of this because this is dangerous stuff, but I hate to say this and not justifying because it's wrong. This is the stuff that unfortunately goes on in these teen relationships, which is why I believe sometimes when you're in school and you're young like this, I don't think you should be having relationships. These kids are not mature enough to understand when someone says they don't want to be with you, you don't stalk them, you don't take their cell phone, you don't put out messages like you're going to go out and harm them, because he also put out this message, and I don't like it. I don't like it at all, but I'm going to put this up here. Karmelo Anthony sent her a text saying, I'm on the verge, at 1 a.m. on the morning of the stabbing. Karmelo Anthony sent a numerous text message stating, I'm on the verge, meaning he had the knife. So the reason why he had a knife is because he was sending his girlfriend pictures and making cold threats on her, all that sort of stuff. I'm sorry. It's despicable stuff. It's unacceptable. I don't accept it at all. I think it's horrible. It's bad. What's wrong with this kid? You're sitting up here. And so whether this is something that those of us who have been supporting and following this case and speaking up for Karmelo Anthony, this is something where we have to be honest and say that this is unacceptable behavior. And it shows that if he was going through this on the day that he stabbed Austin, that tells me that he was already amped up. I'm not saying that Austin Metcalf had any damn business putting his hands on Karmelo Anthony. But what I'm saying is Karmelo Anthony already was in a mood, in a state of mind where he wasn't willing to take shit from nobody. So when Austin and his brother approached him and he was already upset about his girlfriend and the behavior that he had been displaying with her, he was already at a point that if somebody tried him, he was going to try you. And I'm going to say this again. It came out in the wash that Karmelo Anthony knew what the I keep saying Austin, the Metcalf twins were capable of doing. He already knew what Austin was doing. So if he was already emotionally wound up, round up over his breakup with his girlfriend, or him being in denial of the breakup, so he's already upset about that. Then here come these two fools who already have a reputation for putting their hands on people, causing trouble, hurting people. And he says, damn, these guys are messing with me. Damn it. Wait a minute. I'm already upset. They come and messing with me. Damn it. They already have a reputation for harming people. I'm not going to be the victim. In Karmelo Anthony's mind, I'm just saying, I wasn't in his mind, but I can use reductive reasoning here. In his mind, he probably was like, I'm not going to be a victim today of these two clowns who I know go around hurting people. I'm already pissed off because of my girlfriend. I'm already on edge over her and sending her weird messages. I'm already on edge. And here come these two individuals messing with me. And so when they started messing with him, because he was already on edge, then we got the reality of what we got, which is the stabbing. That's just as honest and plain as can be said. Yalpo, thank you for the super chat, brother. He said, I didn't get a notification. Glad I caught you. Yeah, YouTube kisses my ass. They want to change the platform now. They want to change how many watch hours you get. They want to change whether how you make money on YouTube. They want to change they want to change everything, but they can't even get the basic stuff right on their platform, which is the notifications. How you going to come up with all these changes, YouTube, and you can't even get our notifications on your system correct so that we can at least get our supporters of our channel to be able to come see our videos? Now, back to the program at hand. Thank you for the super chat again, my brother. Thank you very much.
Thank you for the super chat.
So it tells me that Karmelo Anthony was not in the right disposition to deal with these two idiots coming before him, giving him all type of, they trying to give him smoke, and he gave them smoke back because he was already in that mindset that I'm mad. Now I got these guys coming over me, my girlfriend. I'm already tripping with my girlfriend. All of it is a damn shame. And I'm gonna say it to y'all again. I wish that Karmelo Anthony never did any of this stuff, because nobody should have died on this day. Nobody should have lost their life. And Karmelo Anthony, I gotta be honest, really had no business stalking his girlfriend and brandishing a knife that he wanted to sort of threaten his girlfriend with. And I know that I know Karmelo Anthony also has a history, as was brought out in the record. He had a history of making threats about what he would do to people at some type of state fair, or some kind of fair, or some type of event where he talked about how he could sneak a weapon into a facility or some type of fair, some kind of event that they went to, how he can harm people at school and what Karmelo Anthony had problems, y'all. Let's stop setting up here. For any content creators out there, we cannot be in denial. Even if we're passionate, we made videos defending Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony had problems. Karmelo Anthony probably, and I work in mental health, so I can say this, Karmelo Anthony should have probably been, his family should have had him seeing someone for because what we call this emotional issues, emotional stability or instability. You have people who have mood swings, and there's people who do take medication for mood swings. I'm not necessarily saying, hey, pump them up with medications, but who knows? People have mood swings. Young people have issues with being, what do we call this? What do you call that when someone turns you down? Rejection. Everybody doesn't have a good handle on rejection. And I'm going to say this for the record. I think this generation, the Z generation, they're the worst. This younger generation, they're the worst when it comes to handling rejection because they never have been used to it, because everything that they do is behind these damn computer keyboards and cell phones. See, when I was as a Gen Xer, at a very early age, we had to learn rejection when it came to girls. We had to learn how to go up to girls and speak to them in person, not hide behind a date app. And so I think my generation, to a certain degree, we got thick skin and learned how to deal with rejection and brush your shoulders off, get up, square your shoulders as a man and go forward. I think this younger generation can't handle it, because this generation is a generation of participation trophies, and they're used to everything being catered to them and everything being watered down for them. And now they can't handle the rejection of females. And it's not just Karmelo Anthony, but this Austin twins, the Austin twin, or Austin Hunter, from what I understand, he had obsession with girls. He had obsession with females. Every time you turn around, he's harming females, allegedly. From the same generation, these guys don't know how to handle being turned down by girls or things not going their way. They want to bully their way through every damn thing. In this case, Austin was trying to bully his way through everything. Some of these kids today have emotional disturbance and have not developed properly. And and then another thing, when it comes to conflict resolution, they don't have good conflict resolution skills. You know why? Because these kids today spend all their time on cell phones, talking to each other by text messages. There is no personal connection to one another. There is no interpersonal skills being developed. They play the video games. They're used to them. Someone dying, someone gets hurt, they become immune to it. I think that's the reason why Austin had no problem with going around harming people, because to him it's like playing a video game. They don't see the consequence. And the fact that these two white kids never did no serious time in jail, they never really got handled. All it did was embolden their behavior to do whatever they thought they could get away with, because they had been getting away with stuff. I think what happened on the day that they encountered, Karmelo Anthony, they picked the wrong one that day. They were used to beating people up, knocking people around, and nobody messing with them. But on this day, because this young man was already going through some emotional issues with his situation, they ran into the wrong one. And this one right here was like, I'm going to bring it to you. If you touch me again, see what happens. And guess what? Austin lost his life. But it's a cautionary tale, everybody, because these kids, these Metcalf twins, to me, they have been getting away with doing this behavior for a very long time. And that this time around, it caught up with them. I'm not justifying him not being alive. I'm not cheering it on. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just simply saying that eventually when you go around bullying people, eventually you're going to run into the wrong person who on that day, no matter, you don't know what's going on. This is why I always say this. You don't know what's going on in people's minds. You don't know where they are mentally, emotionally, what's going on. You don't know what people are capable of. and they saw a black kid and Karmelo Anthony, and because they were already racist and had racial animosity towards black people, they just saw Karmelo Anthony as just another in on a bench that they felt belonged to them because they were already emboldened since they were in elementary school. Let me play this video of this lawyer, lawyer Michael. I think the last name, he has a good channel. I'm going to put the description of his channel in the description of this video, but he breaks down some things in this video that give you some additional breakdown of these kids' problems, the Metcalf kids. Here we go.
There was a report of an assault on a female student in 2024. When the twins were 10 years old, they were accused of frequently targeting a female classmate.
Damn.
That classmate ended up with a shoulder trauma.
See?
After Hunter allegedly pushed her. Austin and Hunter were reportedly kicked out of a football game for...
They did damage to a young girl's shoulder. Remember I said I read the statement about them punching down a girl's stomach? So when you look at Karmelo Anthony, and you say, man, he's got issues with girls. Austin had issue and his brother with girls as well. The difference is they actually are on the record for actually harming girls. Karmelo's on the record for actually making code threats by way of his text messages, which is really bad. The difference is that the Austin twins have a record of actually physically putting their hands on girls. Now, Karmelo Anthony, I think, has a history of some assaults too. He's not clean at all. But these Austin twins, these Metcalf twins, should I say, I keep saying Austin, they're not clean at all. And their record is even longer and deeper.
Wanting to beat up kids, saying that they were talking crazy. Now, talking crazy is an important point here because that was the phrase that was allegedly used under the tent about Karmelo Anthony, that he had been talking crazy. So that's important. So again, these are all things that under the gentleman's agreement brought up by Bill Worski, they agreed not to go into it, to cross-examine witnesses about any of this, to keep this out of the trial, to keep a clean trial. So he said, Howard said under direct examination by Russell Wilson, the appeals attorney for Karmelo Anthony, that the text messages and their actions painted the picture of students who really had an issue. Black students seemed to have an issue with girls and basically had an overall racist outlook. There was more. I'll go on. There was even a bit.
Let me read this right here by Mr. Reese. CO says, Yapo, you're right. Absolutely right. If Karmelo Anthony was such a disciplinary problem, the prosecution would have, but it's on full blast. Right. Both lawyers on both sides did not want any of this information in the record of the court, the first hearing, because both lawyers were concerned about how it would sway the jury to either side. But I personally think that it could have helped Karmelo Anthony because at least he would have been able to testify and explain some of his own behavior. Another thing that I need to let you all know why this didn't, another issue I want to bring up to you is that people said, why is it that Hunter Metcalf didn't testify? There was some talk about them trying to keep him off the stand because if he had been on the stand, the defense team could have cross-examined his ass, and now they could have probed about his behavior and his brother as bullies, as racists, as messing with girls and boys, as harming people, and their reputation wasn't a great reputation. So when those cheerleaders came out originally and told us that these dudes were bad, we should have believed the cheerleaders' statements. Let's get back to this.
Video of Austin's phone that showed him throwing a water bottle at a black student and hitting him in the face. You're making videos of yourself doing these things.
It's a damn shame.
Mike Howard testified that it could be just messing around, but the context of all the other incidents, it shows something a little different, a general aggression and demeaning acts towards black people. This is Mike Howard's words on this thing. And Howard said, the history of the twin brothers acting in concert with each other was relevant to what Anthony would have felt in that moment. So he would have argued that in any arguments trying to get this in front of a jury. And again, no guarantee it would have ended up there. There is a section in Texas law that when there's an issue as to who the aggressor was in an incident, a lot of this information would have been allowed in.
See, you hear what the brother is saying? In Texas law, this information would have been allowed in. It could have helped Karmelo Anthony as much as it could have potentially hurt him on either side. This is why they made this agreement, and this gentleman's agreement was not on the record of the court docket. That's a key issue here. And I'm going to say again, as I said in the beginning of this video, they can appeal the new judge denying a new trial. They cannot have a new court case until that appeal is completely filed and heard and passed before they can have a new trial. And if they were to have a new trial based on appeal, it's going to take by 2028 to 2029. Karmelo Anthony is not getting out of prison no time soon in this process. They'll have to go to the circuit. I think the Fifth Circuit Court. I think I've heard that about the Fifth Court. They can take it all the way up to the Supreme Court if necessary. But they are in a process. I think they're going to appeal the judge's decision today, but it's going to take a long time. Let's go right ahead. There won't be any trial. I thought this information would open up the gateway for a new trial, but we'll see.
According to the motion, Mike Howard's affidavit with the motion for a new trial, he told Bill Werski, look, a lot of this can come in. Bill Werski said, no way, because we know who the aggressor is. This is, again, according to Mike Howard's affidavit, we know who the aggressor is.
It's Austin.
It was Austin Metcalf.
Right, Austin Metcalf.
So, there's that. All right, there's more. I'll give you more. According to the attorneys, Austin was made to go to a church group about being consumed by anger and addiction and lust.
Boom. I wanted to make this very clear. I said this in the video. They sent him to some type of religious organization to deal with his lust and his addiction issues, his addictive behavior. Let me let you hear that one more time again.
So, all right, there's more. I'll give you more. According to the attorneys, Austin was made to go to a church group about being consumed by anger.
Consumed by anger.
And addiction and lust.
Anger, addiction, and lust. This is what this kid was tripping off of. Austin. On your left side of the screen. Addiction, lust, and anger. Lust over women. So when you talk about Karmelo Anthony and his issue with females, they both got the same issue. Because people are going to say, well, Karmelo Anthony, he was tripping with his woman, which was horrible. This dude up here to the left side, Austin Metcalf, he had similar issues. His issue is that he was beating on a lot of females. Documented. And Karmelo Anthony, unfortunately, He's making weird threats on his girlfriend. All of it's unacceptable. All of it is despicable. All of it is questionable.
In December of 2024, Howard said that there was potential evidentiary items to contradict testimony that Austin was calm during the encounter with Karmelo and that Austin had a history of wanting to fight. Now, I can tell you, in the motion for a new trial, it's mentioned by Russell Wilson that Austin Metcalf, one of the guys who witnessed this, gave a statement to police that this was the norm for Austin Metcalf. He said he had seen this type of thing many, many times before.
Now, what you just heard there was very important. Austin Metcalf had a history of doing exactly what he did to Karmelo Anthony. And this was someone that was a witness to what happened that day and said that he had seen Austin Metcalf do what he did to Karmelo, which Karmelo Anthony in the end said, hey, I was trying to protect myself from this guy touched me. He touched me. Do I need to remind y'all of that incident right here?
It's on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. What's happening right now? Victim is over here in the north end. They got staff standing to him right now. This is the alleged suspect. Already? No. We searched them. Got nothing on him. I don't know what happened.
413. Check everything with CPR progress.
Victim is over here in the north end. They got staff. Put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. What's happening right now? Victim.
You hear Karmelo Anthony saying he put his hands on me, and I told him not to put his hands on me. And you just heard the brother there that I played, who's a lawyer, saying that there was a witness who said that this is the kind of behavior that Austin often displayed, him and his brother, and he had seen him do it countless times before. And so this could have heavily been used in his trial had they not had this agreement that never was on the official record of the legal docket. And maybe it could have made a difference, or maybe it wouldn't. Who knows? But let's get back to what this brother is saying. This brother's a lawyer here.
There's more evidence presented to the judge that included messages from another football player saying that Austin and Hunter needed to control their emotions. And Austin responded with an obscene sexual remark. There was a video from 2022. It was presented to the judge, taken from Austin's phone, showing him laughing at and filming a black student who told him to stop. Austin then hit that kid in the face. It's another incident. Another video taken from Austin's phone in 2023. Showing that Austin was hitting a student sitting next to him in class in the back of the head.
Damn. See this, folks? These guys got serious problems. And I can make the statement right now. What's wrong with the white fathers in America? What's wrong with the white community? Because believe me, there are other white kids just like these Metcalf boys that are doing the same stuff around this country. And they're not getting criminalized by the penal system because they're white, they got the connections, they got the right color for the protection. If these were black kids with a black father, everybody would be saying the black father has failed his sons. The black mother has failed her sons. The black community has failed these boys. What's wrong with them? And they damn sure wouldn't be getting slaps on the hand for their behavior.
It shows Austin was a bully. He liked to fight.
Right.
He had anger issues, lust issues.
Lust issues, damn.
Other videos from Austin's phone showed him fighting another kid while wearing boxing gloves and bare fist fighting someone in his room while another person counted down.
This is crazy,
Had
y'all.
another video from Austin's phone taken in January of 2023. It showed.
Let me read what y'all think. Reese says, well, having that agreement made Austin Metcalf look like an angel, which he was not. No, he was not a damn angel, but it made him look just like this, right? This is the image and the ideology that they wanted you all to believe about this dude, that he was this perfect little angel, good student, good citizen, and all American white boy, which was a lie. What's going on, X-Men Rogue? Saying you can see it in the picture, right? Seem like they do have problems. Yeah, they have problems. They had problems. Let's just keep it real. Karmelo Anthony had problems too. Let's keep it real. Let's be honest. Let's keep it $100 over here on the Information Man Show. If I'm going to tell the truth, I'm going to tell the truth. Okay? Let's just keep it 100. We don't have to
tell the truth.
You know, I'm still exposing their racism, but Karmelo Anthony obviously had some issues, and I'm very concerned about how his father and what they have been doing to steer him in the right way. Now, that doesn't look the kid, you know, everybody, Austin had what, 4.0 average. Look, Karmelo Anthony had a great point average. He was looking at maybe a scholarship to play college football or go to school. He wanted to go into a NASA space program. The kid had talent. The kid has skill sets, but he's going to be in a prison cell for 35 years. Austin's not going to be alive to have any life, right? But I'm going to tell you right now, when you go around bullying people, it leads to stuff like this. When you go around becoming emotionally unstable about your girlfriend and making all kind of threatening things, it can also lead you down the wrong path too, because like I said before, Karmelo Anthony was obviously very upset about his girlfriend. And when Austin approached him, they just happened to run up on the wrong black kid on the wrong day of his emotional situation. And on this day, they got their ass handled because the Metcalf twins were probably used to beating everybody up, intimidating everybody, nobody wanting to confront them. They probably were used to having their way in this community. But on this day in question, on April 2nd, 2025, Karmelo Anthony was already not in a good mood, and they just ran up on the wrong person, and this time around, it didn't work out. And see, when you live a bullying life like they lived, I hate to say it, but I must say it, you're bound to run into the wrong person that might really do some serious shit to you. And I think that's just what happened. They messed with the wrong black kid on this day in question. A black kid and Karmelo Anthony who already knew their reputation. Continue.
Austin cheering on his friend as he tackled and chased a black boy around a house and called him racist names. A separate video showed Austin choking another kid in the weight room.
Damn.
Other character trait evidence presented to the judge showed Austin using racial slurs and holding a butterfly knife while wearing another
Boom. Did you hear what he just said? A butterfly knife. What does that tell you? That tell you that they're not wholesome. They're not clean. They want to tell. Everyone's wondering, why did Karmelo Anthony, remember everyone was saying, why does he have a knife? Well, come to find out, Austin was playing around with a butterfly knife, acting as if he was prepared to harm someone. So here you have a situation where everybody kept questioning about Karmelo Anthony having a knife, which I didn't think was a good thing at all for him to be having a knife. But here you have coming out in documents that Austin was carrying knives too. That he was a knife. And we told you all that in the state of Texas, a lot of these kids be carrying knives. So I want to know, where is the vitriol from people to talk about this kid having a history with knives too? Just as much as Karmelo Anthony. Let's get back to it.
Around a house and called him racist names.
Now I'm gonna
a separate video
pull this
showed
back
Austin
right here.
choking another kid.
Look, I want to pull this back Here go the one he's going to say about the other kid with the knife. Check this out.
The defense had another video from Austin's phone taken in January of 2023. It showed
All
Austin
from his
cheering
phone.
on his friend as he tackled and chased a black boy around a house and called him racist names. A separate video showed Austin choking another kid in the weight room. Other character trait evidence presented to the judge showed Austin using racial slurs and holding a butterfly knife while wearing another, swearing at another student and telling him to come blank or F with me now.
See?
And here's the key to the whole thing.
It's crazy.
I mean, if all these incidents weren't enough, to tell you what we all assumed was the situation with Austin and Hunter. Mike Howard said on the stand, now everything I said to you is what Mike Howard testified to he was going to present or try to present as evidence against Austin Metcalf. Howard said that Karmelo Anthony once saw Austin and Hunter get into a fight with a kid at a basketball game and could describe knowing that at least one of the Metcalf twins was aggressive and prone to starting fights.
You hear what he said? Karmelo Anthony. Remember I told y'all that Karmelo Anthony was familiar with their tactics and behavior because he witnessed what they were capable of doing. That would play another role if they would have let this into court. This could have also potentially maybe hurt him, maybe help him in the case for them to be able to say, Karmelo Anthony, had he been on the stand, he probably could have said, hey, I've seen these guys before harming people. They have a reputation. And I knew I had to protect myself because I've known them to be bullies around this community because I've witnessed it for myself. Play that back.
Evidence against Austin Metcalf. Howard said that Karmelo Anthony once saw Austin and Hunter get into a fight with a kid at a basketball game.
Damn.
And could describe knowing that at least one of the Metcalf twins was aggressive and prone to starting fights. He said this showed that Anthony went under the tent knowing that the twins had been aggressive in the past.
Boom. Karmelo Anthony knew when he went under that tent and they approached him, he knew who he was dealing with. He knew what their potential abilities are to harm people. And that would explain why he said, if you touch me, you'll see what I'll do.
Put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. What's happening right now? Victim is over here in the north end. They got staff standing to him right now. This is the alleged suspect. Already? No.
On this day in question, Karmelo Anthony knew what he was getting into.
This is huge. Because when you start talking about this type of evidence coming in,
or he knew what they were capable of doing, I mean.
One of the key tests is it relevant? And a lot of it wouldn't have been relevant if Karmelo Anthony had no idea about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that would have been made it more difficult to get a lot of this information in.
Right.
But if there was information that Karmelo Anthony knew that these guys were aggressive,
right,
had actually seen them be aggressive,
right,
then it has a higher probability of being allowed in at trial.
Facts.
So
I want to go right over here to myself right now. Do you understand what that brother is saying? He's a lawyer. He's a channel. Brother Michael, I got to put a description of his channel in this video. So what he's saying is, if he would have testified in the prosecution, this is what a prosecution did not want. This is what people don't know, that didn't know. It was the prosecution that did not want Karmelo Anthony on that stand, because had he got on the stand and they asked him, why did you do what you did? He could have he could have done what? He could have went back to his reference of reality, which is, well, I have seen these guys before harm people. They have a reputation in the community for harming everybody, girls, boys. They have a reputation for racial slurs. They've been in and out of trouble with juvenile delinquent behavior. And I saw them at a basketball game do horrible things to a guy that they were attacking. And so me knowing that they're capable of these things, and it's on, and if the defense team puts everything that they've done on the record, all 20 pages or more of it, that could work in the favor of Karmelo Anthony for his defense. Because they could say that Karmelo Anthony was afraid for his life because he has seen and was aware of what they have done. And he also told them, don't touch me. He already told them not to touch him.
Put his hands on me. I told him not to. He put his hands on me. What's happening right now?
He told them not to, and they put their hands on him. Now, Karmelo Anthony, I'm going to say it for the record again. The young man has problems too. He has problems. You don't go around threatening your ex-girlfriend. You don't go around stalking girls. You don't go around brandishing weapons and talking about how you can sneak a weapon into this state fair, how you're going to harm people in school. You don't go around doing these things. Now, Karmelo Anthony, because I got to be fair here, has a juvenile record too. And the Austin McCaffrey had serious juvenile record. Him and his brother. They are not choir boys. They are not angels. This is the impact. The impact is very clear. These details, as demonstrated in a pattern of harmful, documented behavior by Austin Hunter that spans years and impact multiple areas of school life. The court decision to impose such a strict punishment reflects the seriousness of their actions and the history of racist and violent conduct. Court documents and hearing records, legal impact on the case. But we see today that the judge denied the appeal. The whole situation is crazy. I feel really bad for the parents, the mother. I think that's his stepmother. I feel bad. But it also makes me wonder, because he does have a father in his life, what the hell was going on when it came to the Karmelo Anthony household? What were they doing to get this young youth, get him under control? To get him on the right track. Now, obviously, they did some things because he's got a great grade point average. He's graduating, or did graduate. Had some goals academically, but I'm not talking about his academic ability, because we know that the academic ability wasn't the problem. I'm talking about the issues that he had, the immaturity that he had when it came to the girls, when it came to other people that he dealt with in this community, when it came to some of the immature things he was doing, playing around with weapons. I had a chance to take a deep dive into Karmelo Anthony's background as information came out, and it didn't look pretty, wasn't nice. I wasn't proud of what I was reading, didn't like what I was hearing, didn't count on this, didn't want it to be the reality, but it is the reality. The young man has problems. And I think they should seek some type of counseling, because this type of stuff doesn't just end because you're a high school kid. This stuff can carry on with you through life if not dealt with. And I'm gonna stand 10 toes on this. I think this is a byproduct also of this generation. Both Austin Metcalf and his brother had the same issues where they were messing and abusing females. These Z generation, these young kids today, they can't handle rejection. They don't know how to deal with things not going the way they want it to go because they're used to everything being given to them. But I'm going to say to everybody, before you jump on the family and say, oh, this is an example of how the black family is dysfunctional, you better say something about the white family and their dysfunction. What's going on with the white family dysfunction in America? We know that you got a lot of these white, middle-aged white men and a lot of these young white boys that have gone into schools and done school, you know what, mass, you know what. They got some serious problems going on in their communities too. Let's not get it twisted. We can have our critiques for Karmelo Anthony's family and say, well, what did they do with him? How did they raise him? Why was he behaving like this? If you say that, you must throw 2 stones back at these individuals right here and their upbringing and their father and mother and what have you. Yes, you can't have one without the other. You can't say one and not mention the others. You can't. I want to thank everybody that's in the chat room that's here tonight. I appreciate you. East racist check. Swap the race around, and if you still think the killer should be free, then you aren't a racist. If you change your opinion, dang, oh, get out. The bottom line is, if the Austin twins were 2 black kids, they wouldn't be able to run around doing half the shit they've been doing because they would have already been incarcerated. The Austin twins were going around terrorizing this community, or the youth in this community, and they never did no heavy time. They got in trouble with juvenile when they were elementary school. They've been doing this stuff since elementary school, and they never did no time in juvenile hall. They just got probation. Y'all was saying to us that Karmelo Anthony had got kicked out of school, but none of y'all didn't do your same research to find out that the Austin boys been doing a whole lot of wild stuff up in this community. Where's the information on that? I believe he was jumped by multiple people from the jump. That's why the prosecution didn't want him on this. No, the prosecution didn't want to. No. I'm sticking with documented records. The prosecution did not want Karmelo Anthony on the stand because Karmelo Anthony would have been able to expose the Austin Hunter for being a guy with a reputation to attack. I've already said that in this video. That's the real reason, not because he got jumped by multiple people. Let's stick with the facts and not what we think. The fallout from the defense claim that the agreement fell apart during trial because prosecutors agreed the deal would not apply if Anthony took the witness stand, because if he took the witness stand, he could expose the Austin boys, the Metcalf boys. The Metcalf boys have 20 pages of behavioral history hidden from the jury. The twins' records reveal shocking details about Austin, Hunter, and Metcalf's sealed pre-trial agreement. The pre-trial agreement that was put together by Whisker and Mike Howard. The defense lawyers, Mike Howard, stated that they worked out a off-the-record gentleman's deal with prosecutors involving the prosecutor Whisker and Judge Joe Roach. They did not want Karmelo Anthony to get up there on court on the stand because he would have spilled the beans about these white boys. He would have been able to refer to what they did when he witnessed how they beat up people. He would have been able to say, hey, they had a reputation. And because I knew their reputation, I had to defend myself because I know what they're capable of. He would have explored the facts of what he knew about them. Karmelo Anthony didn't know them personally, but come to find out, Karmelo Anthony was aware of their reputation because he had seen what they were capable of. And there was already a witness who had said that that's what Austin was about. Him and his brother, that's what their reputation was, because he said he had seen it many, many times. It don't have to be as complicated as multiple people jumping on Austin. Let's stick to what the facts are. Austin Metcalf and his brother were known to attack people. They didn't need no backup crew. They were the damn backup crew themselves. They had a history of putting their hands on people. Them boys didn't need nobody backing them up. It's just that they messed with the wrong black kid on this day, a black kid that was already upset because he had an argument and a fallout with his girlfriend, and that already had ticked him off. And then here come these two white boys telling him to move, and at that point he was already emotionally a wreck because of the girlfriend situation. And when they started putting hands on him, he was already emotionally charged up. And they just ran into the wrong dude on this day who was willing to bring it back at them because they were used to going around bullying people and getting away with it. Messing with girls, boys, and racial slurs. These kids never did a day in jail for the shit that they was doing, but they got probation when they were in elementary school. Once again, if these were two black twins, do you think if Karmelo Anthony was a twin, do you think two of Karmelo Anthony's could run around Frisco, Texas, harassing white people, leaving white racial slurs on buildings, talking about the KKK? Do you think two black twins looking just like him, Karmelo Anthony, would be able to navigate this community for years without being incarcerated, kicked out of school for life, kicked out of the damn school district? You know where I come from. You get kicked out of the school district when you have this type of reputation. Why weren't they not kicked out of the school district? I'll tell you why. Because like my brother Paul Mooney, or the great late Paul Mooney, said, they had the right complexion for the protection, baby.
Information is power.
Tell the truth.
And that's just the bottom line. These dudes didn't need no backup team with them. They were the damn team of disaster. They were the bullies of this community. And this is what I'm going to say, and I'm going to be bold in what I'm saying right now. And some people are going to disagree with me. I think that the community, Collin County in this community of Frisco, Texas, and it wasn't even supposed to happen in Collin County. That's another thing. But look, I have to blame the county in the city of Frisco, Texas. They are partly a blame for what happened to Austin Metcalf because they knew that him and his brother were bullies. They knew that they had a reputation and they never dealt with them. See, they are also partly responsible for letting these white boys run wild in Frisco, Texas, bothering kids. And you notice most of their bullying was not only girls, but it was black people, black kids. And so they didn't give a damn about them putting hands on black kids because this is Texas and they racist out there in Texas too. You see, listen to what I'm saying. They were putting their hands mainly on black kids. Imagine if these were if you had Karmelo Anthony was a twin and they're going around picking with white kids, beating up white girls, punching white girls in the stomach, affecting a white girl's shoulder, knocking white boys in the back of the head, going to the gym, going to basketball games and beating up white kids, on the football field, beating up white kids of rival schools. If this was all happening, they would have been kicked out of the district. They would have been suspended from school. Their parents would have been told, your kids can't go to school here no more. You're going to have to take them to another district. They're going to be kicked out, or we're going to have to send them to an alternative school. Or they would have been arrested and doing time in a penal institution, because as far as I know, Texas loves to lock people up anyway. Anybody that tells me tonight that everything I just said, just in this statement here, is a lie, you're a damn fool. You can't nobody in that chat room, can't nobody say that what I just said is a damn lie. Nobody. Information man, well, I did believe it was the Metcalf twins approaching Karmelo at first. No, they did approach him. Wait a minute, Mr. Reed, what are you saying to me? They did approach him. They were the ones that wanted him off the damn bench and from under the tent. They had to approach him first. Why would Karmelo Anthony approach? Why would Karmelo Anthony approach them when he already knew their reputation? No, they approached him, as was documented that they were known to just come up on people. Unless I'm reading what you're saying wrong. Thank you, MLS. You said you're a cook. Yeah, I'm going to cook this meal good tonight. Yes, completely lies, sincere. If you're swapping the race, you would still side with Karmelo Anthony. I would not justify or agree with two black kids just going around bullying people. No, I wouldn't agree with that. The reason why your argument, what you're saying, is in fact, it doesn't stand, because I don't agree with anybody bullying someone who didn't do anything to them. See, this is where people get it twisted. People assume that black people are just saying this because, well, it's because he's. I don't think black people would agree with just black kids going up to other kids, bullying them for no reason. Now, can that happen? Has it happened? Yeah, you got black kids out here that's out of control that can go around bullying people. Bullying is something that goes on in school, no matter what color people are. But the point I'm trying to make is, when you are a bully and you live a bully lifestyle, eventually you're going to run across a person who's going to be the wrong person to mess with, because you don't know. This is why when I go out in my everyday life, I don't mess with people. I don't look at people and say, oh, he looks weak. Oh, she looks weak. I could do something to them. You should never underestimate people, no matter how they look, because you don't know what's going on in their life, what they might be mad about, what they are capable of doing. And then you go over there, you get more than you bargained for.
Tell the truth.
The Metcalf boys were just used. They were used to, and they were emboldened used to being able to whoop people up. They weren't used to getting their butts whipped up. They were used to doing the butt whipping. You understand what I'm saying here, folks? That's the ideology that we're dealing with. They are the ones that's used to whooping people up. Let me play this video right here.
For a new trial. So how do you think it went?
This is
It's mixed feelings.
Yeah.
Everything we've noticed, a lot of things about the boys that wasn't sent out to the program. You agree? Based on
y'all
what
familiar
was
with the
told,
brother? He used to be a part of the
narrative,
Ghetto Boys group. He got the YouTube channel.
It hurt us, man. It just made us. It's right now. I'm still. It was so much at that time.
Yeah, it was a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
Damn, the dude had a penchant for fighting, for boxing.
Yes.
Very, very
Never
violent.
put out there.
Yeah, like smacking on his friends or so-called friends, smacking on
Wording
other
he
folks,
was using.
choking his own mama.
Mama, yeah, that threw me
You
off.
know?
I mean, your mama?
So you hear them saying that right there, that this Austin Metcalf, who everybody tried to make out to be an angel, had a history also of smacking and choking his mama, smacking people around, choking mama, and maybe even his goofy father, Jeff Metcalf, as well, allegedly.
I said, man, you got to be different.
Threatening to slap his dad and he don't do nothing. This kid right here, like he was a real problem. When I heard all that stuff, I'm talking about a treasure trove of incidents captured on his phone. It ain't like this is not third-hand knowledge. This is him recording himself in most cases or passing along text messages.
Yes, and it was very shocking. Like I said, right now, it's so much to take in because it's like, man, what?
Yeah.
I mean, somebody do that?
All of this information was captured off of Austin Metcalf's cell phone. Where did he learn this from? Everybody, let's just keep it 100% buck. He learned this from his pappy, his father. He's not an angel. This is learned behavior passed down from one generation to another. And we already know that Jeff Metcalf's called Karmelo Anthony watermelon felon. And let's hear some more of this nonsense.
Black fatigue, it's real. I'm sorry. He's the only one in your family without a damn record. I guess that's something to brag about in your culture. I got a new name for Mello, okay? Because he was such a little boy y'all were trying to portray. How about watermelon felon? How's that one strike? You don't have your father in the home anymore. You got baby mamas running around with 8 kids so they can get EBT cards to feed you all. You think I'm being racist? No, I'm being real. Oh, you got more melanin than me. Ooh, so you get more privileges, more entitlement? Because 400 years ago, someone actually sold you to us, and we took you over here and put you to work. And then we had a civil war to free
Listen
you.
to this.
And now you want to talk shit? Oh, I've been so oppressed. You couldn't even vote 1960.
Now, this is the thing about Jeff Metcalf. This is a man who claims that he's Christian, that he's I'm going to tell you right now, anybody who tells you how Christian they are, take it with a grain of salt. Don't listen to none of that shit. I don't care, because the Ku Klux Klan and all those races in the past, they were for claiming that they were Christian, and we saw what they did to black people during that time that the Ku Klux Klan was doing what they did, okay? The same people who took the life and mutilated the body of Emmett Till, guess what? Them the same white people who claim to be Christian. This man claimed to be Christian, but he says all this stuff. Then he tries to hide behind this. Well, I was holding on. I was frustrated. I was mad. I was holding back. If you are truly a Christian, and if you're truly just angry about how things went on, why would you need to go into racial epithets, and why would you need to say racial stereotypes and do this type of diatribe? Unless you were already racist, it was already in you. So when Jeff Metcalf goes around and says he's not a racist, it's all hogwash. It's all BS, because look at his kids. The apple doesn't fall from the tree. it doesn't fall far from the tree, should I say. This is learned behavior. They got it from their father because you see how he talks like this.
Look how far you've come. Look at all the free shit we give you.
We getting free shit. So black people getting free stuff in a country that our ancestors built. What did we get free? When they came out with the New Deal, black folks didn't benefit from the New Deal. The welfare system was designed for white people, not us. Last time I checked, white people are on welfare more than anybody. See, that's a stereotype. People think that black people, that we just get handouts in this country, when the people who get the handouts more than anybody is white folks, because they're on welfare more than anybody. That's a statistical fact.
You're not oppressed. You're fucking entitled.
Entitled to what?
You know what DEI stands for? Yeah. Means I don't have to be fucking qualified. I just have to be a certain color or race or gender.
See, the DEI is a new racist phrase for these white folks now. So instead of them just coming out and just calling us the N-word, they'll use DEI to hide behind their racism by saying, oh, DEI is benefiting people who are It's the same argument that was made for affirmative action. The bottom line is these programs are really designed to give people an opportunity who would not get an opportunity because of discrimination. When you go to college and you get a degree, a master's degree, a PhD, it doesn't matter how you got into school. It matters if you can graduate and matriculate yourself through the school. When you take the damn examination in that classroom, you don't get a affirmative action examination. You don't get a DEI examination. You take the same examination as everyone. So if you pass it, you're just as qualified as everyone else who passed that test, no matter how you got into school or how they got into school. And the last time I checked, black people in general have only benefited from DEI at 4%. White women and other ethnic groups have benefited from it overall more than black Americans. I rest my case.
Whose broad ass idea was that? I'm gonna tell you right now. Charleston White?
I don't care about Charleston White.
You think you're funny?
He's a Sambo. I don't care about him.
Caleb? You drunk bitch?
He says Caleb because that's the mother of, he's talking about the mother. You see right here? You see how he's throwing out the insults? I don't think that Karmelo Anthony's family has said any disparaging things about his wife that he's not even with. I think him and his wife are separated from each other or something, right? You never even see them together.
We'll see who's laughing. Drew Anthony, you're a pussy.
Drew Anthony is the father of Karmelo Anthony. See how he's throwing out his little knocks? So he's a piece of crap, racist. You know how this works, everybody. He's just a piece of garbage.
Tiffany Billions. I don't know what kind of glamour shot you steal from other people.
Boom. So this is what he is. He's a racist through and through. Don't be fooled by his oh, I'm a Christian. Don't be fooled by any of that crap. Some of your biggest racists in history were Christian. So that don't mean nothing to me.
Profile. But it don't match to your.
And I don't care, because you know what they also do is they'll say, oh, I got black friends. I don't give a damn how many black friends you have. None of that stuff matters. As I said, Karmelo Anthony has his issues, and it is it's a sad state of affairs, y'all. It's a real sad state of affairs. Before I end the show tonight, I want to thank everybody in the chat room. East B says white women are not a minority group. Right, but they have benefited from affirmative action in the DEI, East B. You know that. They're not a minority, but they have benefited because why? Because you have sexism and you've had women that were not allowed to be in certain jobs in certain places, and white women have benefited. Other groups have written on the coattails of black people. It's just a fact of the matter in this country, right? I mean, right. They're not a minority, Eastby. You're absolutely right. But they're getting the minority status that they don't deserve. But I digress. Let me play you this video. This was a big announcement that was made today about the judge denying the motion for new trial for Karmelo Anthony. We're going to get close. This is getting us to conclusion of tonight's video.
The agreement, the unrecorded agreement came up as well, but for the most part,
Put sevens in the chat room if you can hear the audio.
I know we don't have the findings of fact yet, and I hope that does come out because it'll be a little more substantive and it'll give us more of an understanding as to why the judge ruled the way he did.
Forgive me if I'm wrong here, but and Keith or Rebecca, perhaps you could weigh in.
I agree with you, Eastby.
A timeline, a 75-day
We gotta stop lumping them.
That the judge was up against in 75 days. While it does not feel like it's been 75 days, from my perspective, it feels like it was just yesterday that we were covering that trial. I'm sure for the families involved, it feels like much longer. But was there a 75-day window that the judge had to make a ruling?
Thank you, everybody.
Rebecca?
Yeah, I know it's too low.
Yes, there was.
I'm going to stop that right there. I know it's too low.
On Sunday, so we did expect.
This is the problem. When I recorded that video, it just something about the station. It was off of a radio, a news station on YouTube. Their audio was low. It's something that they need to. It's not my audio. It's the way their audio was. But let me just say this, just to give you a nice summary. So this is the actual document that the judge signed to deny it right here. This is I was able to copy this. Here it is right here. The state of Texas, Karmelo Anthony, Sincere Anthony, in the 296th District Court of Collin County, Texas. I don't like this county, y'all. Order denied new trial on August 20th, August 2020 through 21st, 26th. They crossed out this date. It came on to be heard. Defendant motion for new trial upon the evidence argument revealing the motion, the record, the brief, and the relevant case law, the court has determined that the motion should be denied. It is therefore considered ordered and adjourned by the court that the motion for new trial is denied. This is the new judge that's presiding over this. So I don't like this. What does this mean, everybody? I'll tell you what it means is that, and I listened to a sister who has a really good channel. She's a lawyer. She says, basically, they're going to have to appeal this. It's going to take a while for them to appeal it. And if they're able to appeal it, they wouldn't even have a new trial for Karmelo Anthony until 2028 or even 29. I think she said 28. You know how long that is? He'll be sitting in prison for quite some time. And I have to say this too. If this prolongs itself, you're going to have, I don't want to see this happen, but it's just a reality. There's going to be some people that are going to lose interest in this case and are going to fall off to the wayside. And you're going to see less and less press about it as time goes on. And there's other cases that take precedence, right? There's other things that happen. There's a lot that can happen between now and then that could take people's attention away from this situation to that. I mean, look at the Nolan Wales situation. A lot of people have been focused on the Nolan Wales situation, right? I have too, right? But then you got this situation, and I want to do a video about it too, y'all. You got this situation in Gary, Indiana. Look at how those black folks in Gary, Indiana is being treated. Why? We should not be surprised, because remember what happened in 2000 and what year was Katrina? Was it 2005? Remember what they did to black people in Katrina? They left those black folks there for weeks with all that flooded water when the levees fell. Y'all saw the Spike Lee documentary when the levees fell. We shouldn't be surprised about what's happening in Gary, Indiana. Black folks, because it's a black part of Indiana, they completely ignore that part of Indiana. Didn't bring any rest. Got those people left without no help, no resources. $2,005. Thank you. Thank you, everybody in the chat room. I'm going to come to a conclusion. You guys know the information. It's been denied. They're going to have to appeal it. That's going to take some time. Everything that's transpired is going to take time, folks. So we'll do the best to give you reports on what's going on as we get the information, right? I want to say thank you, everybody, for watching. I know it's a late night show. I could have done this Sunday at a more decent time, probably be more people over here, but for some reason I had to do this tonight. And who knows, I might do another stream tomorrow on a whole different subject, right? But I appreciate you, everybody that's been watching in the clouds, everybody that's watching in the chat room, everyone that will watch this on the replay. I thank you all very well so about your support here. Thank you. Thank you very much. What else do I have for you folks? I think that's it. I think that's all I've got in the, this right here. I'm going to say again, this says everything. It says everything right here. All of it's bad. All of it's a shame. Let me just say something real quick. I'm serious, and when I say this, Karmelo Anthony should not be doing 35 years. Maybe if this information would have been allowed into the court because they had this damn agreement, had it been, maybe he would have never been in this situation to be doing this much time. On the flip side of what he has gotten himself in trouble with the law for this situation, I have to say that it is very disturbing to learn all the other things that Karmelo Anthony engaged in when it came to threats on his girlfriend, stalking his girlfriend, making threats on other kids or other people in the school, or the behavior that he was doing. All the other things that he was doing, it's all wrong. It's all disturbing. It speaks to me as someone that works in therapy that he has some problems, some emotional issues. And we as fathers, as parents, we really have to get a handle on our kids when they're in these relationships and they don't know how to deal with breakups. And then the question you got to ask, should we even be allowing our kids to be in these relationships when they really need to be focusing on school, their lessons, and preparing themselves for life? Maybe they need to be a little bit more mature before they even get involved in a relationship. Just a thought. You let me know in the comments section what your thoughts are. But Karmelo Anthony has issues. I'm not going to sit up here and sugarcoat it. Not going to sit up here and be in denial. He has issues. Things I heard about him did not sit well with me. It disturbed me. It was very disturbing. It was very bad. I really hated to hear these things. On the flip side of that, you have Austin Metcalf and his brother Hunter. They are not angels. They have problems too. They have a racist father. And they are not squeaky clean as the media would make you believe that they were squeaky clean individuals. They're dirty. They're dirty. They're dirty individuals. They are not squeaky clean individuals. They are dirty to the rooter to the tutor. Racist. They've engaged in vandalism with racial slurs. They've engaged with bullying boys and girls, beating people up, making threats, can't even hold their composure they have poor sportsmanship on the field of sports. They're on there fighting and getting into it with people. They are out of their minds as well and have problems. And if you are going to blame the problems of Karmelo Anthony on his parenting of his parents and father, then you got to put some blame on the parenting as well. You got to turn around at the same time and say Jeff Metcalf is not a good father. He can get up on podcasts and talk all this Christian talk and talk all this godly talk, but he wasn't a good father. No more than you can turn around and criticize Karmelo Anthony's father and say the same thing, because Karmelo Anthony's got some deep problems too. If you're going to point the finger at his father and say, well, the father failed his son, what did he not do for his son? You can say you can point two more fingers at Jeff Metcalf, because he had two boys, that he has two sons. Both were rotten. One not with us anymore because he was stabbed by Karmelo Anthony. The other is alive, but he's just as rotten as his brother Austin was, because he was out there running around bullying people just as much. And as a result, it's so sad that Karmelo Anthony will be sitting in a cell for a very long time, waiting to win a appeal for the appeal that they were going for as it relates to getting a new trial. They want a new trial because this is new information that's been let in, or that's been exposed, because the lawyer, Mike Howard, finally admitted to this gentleman's, I don't call this a gentleman's agreement. This is garbage. This is not legal stuff here. This is garbage. This needs to be on the record, and it wasn't on the record. But then he came out and admitted what the deal was. Everything about this stink. The judge, Roach, stinks like roaches. The two prosecutors and defense lawyers, Whisker and Toby Shock. I don't know. I'm tired, y'all. That's why I'm saying the names wrong. These guys were buddies with a law firm together. They should have never been allowed to prosecute this case, whether it be on the defense side or the prosecution side, right? Toby Shook. Let me say that right. Toby Shook should have never been allowed to preside over this case because of their previous relationship, in which they both had a law firm together. And then there was some indirect relations to this dude, Judge Roach, who is a roach, in my opinion. The whole thing stinks to high heaven. Definitely a shame. I thank you, everybody, for joining me tonight. And with that said, what I'm going to do is simply prepare for the show to be over. Thank you. Make sure you subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed. Hit the bell notification if you have not. We appreciate that over here. Okay. Very much so. You can catch me on Facebook at Information Man, Instagram Information Man, Threads at Information Man, TikTok at Information Man, right? X platform at Information Man. Come on over, be my guest. Check it out. This has been a hell of a show tonight, hell of an audience tonight. I appreciate you all. We had to tell the truth and shame the devil. And we had to tell it, y'all. With that said, y'all be blessed. Tell someone you love them. Everyone, Yalpo, thank you. Patty's Kitchen and More, thank you. Everybody, I love you. Thank you for being with me. I know it's late. Share the video. Watch the replay if you like. Y'all take care. Peace.
That's a lesson that I learned out by myself. I gotta let her know.
Peace, everybody.
She my white horse, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret every day. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Came through the front door, I'll be ready for her. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you.
Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all for being here. Make sure y'all subscribe to Patty's channel, Kitchen and More. Kitchen, Garden and More. Make sure y'all subscribe to that sister's channel. She got a good channel. Make sure y'all subscribe. Write her name down. Go to her channel. Thank you. This toxicity, the death of me. I feel the day you gone. The most beautiful girl I've ever known. I'll find a way to treat you better. I swear there's no one out there like you. You teach me to be better. My talk is cheeky, asking what I do. I'll fly into the moon and hope I'll see you soon. I'll find a way to treat you better. No problem, I'll do it. Let her know, gotta let her know that she my white rose, she my medical. She like my baby mama, know how to take care of me. Give my baby problems, you gon' regret everything. So I let her know, gotta let her know. Get through the front door, I'll be ready for it. And if it's what you want, I'ma give it to you. Yeah, promise, I'ma give it to you. Love, 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 East B, thank you for the super chat, brother. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate that.